right now. Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome inside the Fan Cave. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, KDKA Plus and 93.7 The Fan. I'm Bob Pompeani here in the Fan Cave. You can join us at 412-575-2600. Andrew Fillipponi is here as we get closer to the NFL draft. And it was interesting today, Andrew, because there was a lot of stuff said, not much new information with the press conference with Mike Tomlin and Omar Khan, and you typically don't get a lot of information from them. There is the topic of gamesmanship, and there's a lot of that going on, and the Steelers seem to be good at playing it at times, trying to throw people off, little misdirection plays here and there. And I'm curious about your thoughts, because they made Shadur Sanders out to be something similar to Kenny Pickett, or for that matter, Malik Willis, when clearly they weren't interested in Willis, but they wanted you to think they were. What's your take on all of this, and how do you think it impacts what they do on Thursday night?
Well, I've never heard Mike Tomlin talk so glowingly about a player in such specific detail as he did today with Shadur Sanders. So obviously the antenna goes up when that happens. And everybody almost universally now believes that he will be the Steelers' next quarterback, including the most important person involved here. And that would be Shadur Sanders, who went on Max Crosby's podcast tonight and said two of his favorite receivers in the NFL are George Pickens and DK Metcalf. So he clearly, just like Cam Ward mentioned those Titans receivers the other day while playing video games, obviously Sanders thinks he's coming here. Dion has liked posts on Instagram about Shadur Sanders coming here. So if it is a ruse, if it is a game, if it is a ploy, they're not in on it, because it looks like the Sanders clan believes, the family thinks he's going to be the Steelers' next quarterback. And maybe most importantly, the odds makers do too. The people that set the betting price on this believe that the team right now that is the most likely home for Shadur Sanders is the Steelers, at very small odds now, very short odds, based on where things were a couple of weeks ago when they were like fourth or fifth on the list of most likely places for him to land.
Yeah, I'm not going to agree with that in terms of I wouldn't make a pick. I said before, and I'm going to stick to it, I don't want to see a quarterback taken in the first round. I think they have other needs, and they can address that as this draft goes on and then do it again next year. But I want to ask you also about the situation with the Giants, because they've spent more time with Shadur Sanders than anyone. And it's clear beyond this year they're going to need another quarterback. If they believe that he is what he is, and who knows, they can still maneuver their way into a pick below where they originally taken 3, because they have a high second-round pick, I believe. They could move and do some things. Is it likely that he is targeted by the New York Football Giants? Because it seems to me that would make sense based on the time and information they put into him.
Sure. I think that probably, I would say the Giants are the other team that looks like they've got eyes on Sanders. I think the Browns are more of a Jalen Milroe team. The Saints sound like they're more of a Jackson Dart team. So again, you have to take all this with a grain of salt. We're dealing with lying season and all those things, but just based on the reporting that's being done, I would say right now the Giants and the Steelers are the two teams that make the most sense for Sanders. And you're right. I mean, the Giants are not going to take Sanders with the 3rd pick. That absolutely is not going to happen. So they would have to trade back from 3 and move back in the first round, or move up from their 2nd round pick back in, or maybe they hope he falls. I mean, in all seriousness, Bob, if the Steelers don't really want Sanders, and this is just a gamesmanship ploy by them, then maybe the Giants can just stand pat with their 2nd round pick and get him there. What would stop that from happening? If it's not going to be the Steelers at 21, I mean, I saw, I almost said James Jones, the old Packers receiver, a friend of mine, but Jonathan Jones from CBS, who's now their biggest insider, his final mock draft today didn't even have Sanders in the 1st round. So there's at least some people out there who think that he's going to completely fall out of the 1st round on draft night. And could you imagine that green room and the cameras that'll be on Deion Sanders and Shadur Sanders if he completely falls out of the 1st round, the drama that would create on Thursday night?
Yeah, I saw another thing here, and I forget who put this out, but this guy who put it out has Deion Sanders, has Shadur Sanders, Mike Renner, if you know him. he does a lot of
I do.
draft work as well. He has Shadur Sanders as the 52nd best available option in this draft. So, I mean,
I
you're going
heard
to
him
get
say that. Daniel Jeremiah from NFL Network, though, has him 20 and has him ahead of all the defensive line prospects that the Steelers have talked about. And Mel Kiper has him number 1 as his quarterback, Bob, ahead of Cam Ward. I almost said Cam Hayward.
That's crazy.
Ahead of Cam Ward in this draft, yeah.
We're going to find out. It should be interesting. It always is on Thursday night. We'll take your calls when we come back. It's 412-575-2600. That's the number to call. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. You know what to do right here on KDKA Plus and 93.7 The Fan. This is our Xfinity mobile tweet of the night. It comes from something Tom Pelissero reported on after speaking with an assistant coach of an NFL team who had part of the interview process with Shadur Sanders. Quote, "The worst formal interview I've ever been into in my life. He's so entitled. He takes unnecessary sacks. He never plays on time. He has horrible body language. He blames teammates. But the biggest thing, he's not that good," which is very interesting to hear after all the glowing stuff we've heard. And I thought this pony was also a very interesting one at 412-575-2600. I thought, for context purposes, Warren Sharp, who does a great job on his podcast and on Twitter, it's about the track record of quarterbacks who were taken outside of the top 12 since 2021. That list includes Mac Jones, Kenny Pickett, Will Levis, Desmond Ridder, Malik Willis, Davis Mills, and those are guys who actually played. You forget about guys like Matt Corral, Kellen Mond, Kyle Trask, and Hendon Hooker. So I guess the word is maybe buyer beware here, Andrew. I mean, it is a crapshoot, despite all the information and the intel they have.
And one of the guys not named there was Brock Purdy, who went with the last pick in that Kenny Pickett draft. And he's already played in a Super Bowl. So, look, this thing is highly unpredictable. You know, the Steelers thought that Kenny Pickett was going to be their guy, and he's already on his 3rd team, and he's playing in the division again. So you don't know. There's a better chance the quarterbacks you take early in the draft amount to something than later. That makes sense. That's logical. That's been the case forever. And it's true. I mean, quarterbacks generally that go in the 20s, if you look at, say, the last 20 years of the NFL draft, there's not a high hit rate or success rate on those guys. Aaron Rodgers is really, by far and away the best one, and finding another good one in the 20s is not an easy thing to do. So it would be going against the trend and going against the norm to stay put and take a quarterback there. But I'm not ruling it out. I mean, look, it was very unusual for Tomlin to speak that way about Shadur Sanders, but he was asked a question about a visit, and so maybe he doesn't think he was giving away Fort Knox secrets with that answer. Either way, I do agree with what Omar Khan said. They've got 2 quarterbacks, and they're going to take 4 to Latrobe. So I think at some point, Bob, in this draft, they're going to take one.
No, there's no question.
Whether that's at 22, 83, 4th round, 5th round, 6th round, 7th round, the Steelers are going to find a rookie quarterback in this draft.
Yeah, it won't be in the 1st round. At least I don't hope it is. I hope it's beyond that and then address it again in the offseason after Aaron Rodgers, if he's here, moves on after 1 season. All right, before we get to the lines, I have a tweet here from Ryan Zedek. You hit us up on Twitter at KDPomp, at the Pony Express. Ryan says, "I really hope the Steelers learned their lesson a few years ago about reaching for a quarterback in the 1st round of a draft class that is weak with quarterbacks." That goes against what Omar Khan said, but everyone has a different opinion. Back to the lines, beginning with Jim in Cranberry. He's our number 1 Cochran Go One Better caller of the night. Hey, Jim.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good. What's up?
Here's my thing. What's Mike Tomlin doing? He's reaching for Aaron Rodgers. He doesn't know what he wants. And I'll tell you what, I like Shadur Sanders. I do. I watched him at Colorado a lot. I thought he was a good quarterback. I think he's poised in the pocket. I know he gets a lot of sacks. But I'll tell you what, his dad was a professional, Hall of Famer. Go for it.
Well, Tomlin, and I will say this, Jim. He likes the bloodlines that come with the genetic guys who are in Hall of Fame or have a lot of history on their side. So if you're going to use that as your reason to think he might be interested in Shadur Sanders, then I would agree. But there's a lot more into this. And as far as Rodgers, there was no update, by the way, on that, Andrew. So this is another game we watch and wait for. And I wonder if Shadur Sanders or any other quarterback is picked, if that will influence how Aaron Rodgers views this whole thing.
I actually disagree with you on that. I thought that Tomlin's answer about how the draft sometimes affects business they do with free agents. He said that. And so I didn't know if that meant if they take a quarterback in the first round, they're going to be less interested in Aaron Rodgers, or if he might have been implying that Aaron Rodgers, despite what he said on McAfee's show, might be less interested in the Steelers if they take Sanders, which I think is also plausible. Mm-hmm. I mean, in my opinion, if you take a quarterback in the first round with the 21st pick, why would you want Aaron Rodgers on this team? Explain that to me.
Well, unless you think the guy's not ready to play, and you don't know that until you get to camp. And if that's the case, then you defer to Mason Rudolph, but they feel that Aaron Rodgers is an upgrade. And
if you take Aaron Rodgers and you've got Shadur Sanders in the same quarterback room, could you imagine the distraction that every week creates whenever Aaron Rodgers doesn't play well?
Yeah, Dion will be on the phone, and he'll be on Twitter talking about his son.
And Aaron will be on McAfee's show saying that he deserves to keep playing, and everybody can shut up about Shadur Sanders.
But they know this going in.
And every guy in that locker room is, then they need their heads examined if they think that's a good setup, because it's not. How could anybody argue that having those two guys on the same team, I don't think the town's big enough for those two. Yeah. I think it'll elicit too much controversy. So for me, it's one or the other. You either go with Aaron Rodgers and he's your quarterback for 2025, or you draft Shadur Sanders in the first round and you let him play. That's what I would do, and I thought Tomlin kind of hinted at that today with his answer.
Yeah, I don't know. I read between lines just like you do. Sometimes I come to a different conclusion. I'm not sure what I believe of that, but I do know, and I agree with the fact that Aaron Rodgers can take things very, very differently than most. And even at age 41, when he has really nothing else to worry about, he's going to worry about something.
Davante Adams said they need to roll out the red carpet for Aaron Rodgers. I'm not doing that.
No, I wouldn't either.
He said he's waiting for a team to roll out the red carpet. That's why he hasn't signed.
Good luck.
Yeah, I'm not kissing the guy's butt when he's 41 years old.
Carpet out from under him. Let's go to Ron in Johnstown, joins us right now. Hey, Ron, how are you?
Hi, guys. Yeah, I know you guys probably, neither of you think too much of Jackson Dart, but I was reading up on him, and his head coach being Lane Giffen, and then his offensive coordinator was Charlie Weiss. And also, he actually has started more games than Cam Ward. And I wouldn't say maybe in the first round, but if they could get move into the second round somehow and pick him up. And I think, and they also said he's a film study rat. He likes to, he's always in the studying film. And my big thing is, I don't think the Steelers are going to do anything with a quarterback until they get a quarterback coach.
Well, they have one. His name is Tom Arth, and he has a history with Aaron Rodgers. So, I mean, they do have a quarterback coach. The thing about, I think there's a very logical reason for them, if they don't like the way things are going, to trade back and try to get more picks. It may not be a number 2. I said this last night to you, Andrew, but it could be another 3rd or something of that nature, because, it depends on how this whole thing develops. That's more likely than trading up. I don't think they'll do that.
Well, how about this Jerry Jones speculation that he said at his press conference, because Jerry doesn't care, about how he's got 2 big trades that he's working on right now. And the speculation in league circles is that he's talking to the Steelers about George Pickens.
Well, George Pickens then would end up in the same exact position he would be here. That is a number 2 who's trying to get paid, even though you got a very high-priced receiver opposite him. So it would be the same. He wouldn't have a choice in that, I suppose. But at least, going there, I would imagine they'd talk contract immediately. Where here, I don't think the Steelers are going to do that if he stays here. He's going to have to wait till the end of the year.
Yep.
So, I mean...
Well, and you never know with Jerry. He's overpaid for guys in trades and with contracts before. And he'll overpay if it's what he wants, if he's got his mind made up on something. So I hope that's the case, because maybe great. You can hoodwink him and trick him into giving up more than he should for a guy like George Pickens.
After all, Omar Khan got a 2nd-round pick for Chase Claypool. Who knows? Let's go to Dan in Moon Township. Hey, Dan, how are you?
Hi, Pony. Hey, thanks for taking my call. Mm-hmm. I was kind of watching the Pirates were, I think they're like 4 for 35 or something, and with the runners in scoring position. I was looking at Indy tonight, and Matt Gorski again is leading in home runs, RBIs, hitting over 300. And you look at what he's doing and what Sawinski and some of them are doing up here. I wonder, is there some knock on him, some reason that he never gets called up? He's had 3 good years in the minors.
Dan, I do not get it. I think I agree with you 100% on that. For whatever reason, he never gets a chance. I don't even think he's on the 40-man roster right now, which is strange to me considering he had a good AAA season last year. He comes here, he has a good spring, he has another good start to this season. He's actually hitting where so many guys on this roster are not hitting right now. What would be the stumbling block there, do you think, Andrew?
I'm guessing strikeouts down there and contact
join the
rate.
club up here then. Everyone else strikes out.
I know.
I mean,
well, yeah, and that's a good point. I mean, you're lacking power. You don't have really consistent bats in your lineup. And in my opinion, you don't know if he's going to fail here until you give him a chance. And, you know, he's not really like completely tearing up AAA, but compared to the other options the Pirates have, he seems to me like he's by far the best one. And when you're struggling as much as the Pirates are offensively, and you're running guys like Tommy Pham out there every day who have no future with the team, I don't know why you wouldn't want to give a guy like Matt Gorski a shot.
The only thing I can think of is he's not somebody who Ben Cherington picked. Maybe he is. I'm not sure. It went back. He's 27.
Well, he's older, too. I think he's 27 exactly. He's 27 years old now.
So if that's the case, that's a stupid reason if they're holding him back just for that. We got to take a break. We'll do it right now and come back with more right here on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call 7 nights a week on KDKA Plus and 93.7 The Fan. KDKA News at 11 starts in about 6 minutes. Ken Rice is at the anchor desk.
Hey, Bob, local leaders tonight sounding the alarm over a lack of firefighters in Allegheny County. Plus, candidates for the Pittsburgh Public School Board make their case to voters. Ray Pelton's tracking more sunshine and temperatures in the 80s, all coming up at 11, Bob.
All right, Ken, thanks very much. Andrew, we've seen some very interesting hockey already in the first round of the NHL playoffs. Last night, for example, Alex Ovechkin, 2 goals, 1 assist, 7 hits, setting the tone for Washington to win. We saw a couple of great overtime games last night, and tonight, Toronto is in a passionate game with Ottawa, and so is Florida. Jake Gensel gets a goal, but man, Matthew Tkachuk keeps on doing what he does for Florida.
Yeah, that's a good point. And L.A. almost blew that huge lead last night against Edmonton and had to win the game 6-5. Yeah, I mean, right now it just seems like the Penguins are so far away from competing with these teams. But then again, Washington was the last team in last year and finished with the most points in the Eastern Conference. So a lot can change in 1 year. But Kyle Dubas's rhetoric, Bob, sounded like a guy who actually still thinks they're years away from getting back to the playoffs when he talked this week.
Yeah, he's kind of sending mixed signals on that, trying to take care of the future while worrying about the present, and it's a tough line to walk. All right, Pony, thanks very much as always. We'll see you later this week, and that's going to do it for us. For Andrew Fillipponi, I'm Bob Pompeani. Thanks for joining us. Again, we do this show 7 nights a week. Don't be a stranger. Coming up at KDKA News at 11 o'clock, we'll have more on the draft with Rich Walsh, as well as all your updated hockey stuff. See you then.